There's something about an unsolved mystery that sticks with you. Not because of what we know, but because of what we don't. Who Put Bella in the Wych Elm by Blake Myers takes one of the eeriest real life cold cases in British history and twists it into something that feels deeply human, unsettling, and at times downright supernatural. Back in 1943, a group of boys exploring Hagley Wood stumbled upon something they shouldn't have seen. Inside the hollow of an old wych elm tree was the skeletal remains of a woman. There was no ID, no missing person report, and no answers. Just that haunting question: who put Bella in the wych elm? That phrase became a local legend. Graffiti appeared all over town, newspapers obsessed over it, and conspiracy theories spiraled out of control. Was she a spy? A witch? A victim of ritual sacrifice? And to this day, no one knows. But Blake Myers takes that lingering question and reimagines it into modern time. He makes it into part ghost story, part psychological thriller, and part meditation on how grief and guilt can turn truth into something unrecognizable. And that question of who put Bella in the wych elm has echoed for decades. But in Myers' hands, it becomes something darker. So let's go through and jump into how this story unfolds. So we go through and follow Dr. Emma Lloyd, who relocates to the parish of Hagley for a fresh start. She is a forensic investigator, and the town's most infamous cold case quickly finds Emma, a 80-year-old cold case, a Jane Doe, was hidden in the hollow of a tree, and the locals call this Jane Doe Bella. And as Emma works the evidence trail, she's looking at old reports, bad leads, and generational secrets. And the past starts to refuse to go through and stay quiet. And Bella's spirit starts turning violent, pushing Emma towards the truth the town has buried, and warning that the cost of answers may be worse than not knowing it all. And the investigation tightens like fog around Hagley, and some mysteries won't be solved cleanly, and Emma has to decide how far she's willing to go to solve this mystery. Blake Myers writing Blake Myers writes like someone who spent a lot of time wandering through fog and then took a lot of notes on how it feels to breathe it in. His prose are descriptive, but not like indulgent. It gives you just enough details to picture the scene and then let you kind of imagine the shadows and fill in those minor gaps. To me, I could go through and hear the wind moving through the trees, feel the damp chill of the moss underfoot, and smell the decay of the town. And you could feel the intimacy, the unsettling, all at once through Blake's writing. And what I really appreciate is the way that Blake balances that tension with the psychological realism. There's this constant push and pull between what we see and what is unseen within this story. You're not just reading Emma's investigation, you're trapped in her head while she's questioning every sound, every face, every flickering light. The dialogue within the story is sharp. When the characters speak, it feels loaded with subtext. Like everyone knows more than they're saying. And that silence, it's dreadful. It feels really lived in. And Blake uses those quiet moments as a weapon. It's the kind of stillness that makes your stomach drop because you know there's something more, but you just can't grasp it. Who Put Bella in the Wych Elm isn't just an unsolved murder. It's about what happened when you refuse to let go of the dead. Or worse, when the dead refuse to let go of us. One of the biggest themes here is the cost of truth. Emma's investigation becomes really a study of obsession. How far would you go to know the answers to a question no one once asks? And Myers frames that pursuit as both noble and destructive. There's also a strong undercurrent of collective guilt. Hagley isn't haunted because of what happened. It's haunted because of what the town is choosing to go through and forget. Every omission, every shrug, it's that type of town that's like it's better not to know of what happened to this individual. And it's rooted all wrapped around this tree, this wych elm, and what happened that night that led a person to be inside of it. The tone within the story, it's cold, it's mournful, it's misty. There's so much grief wrapped in this folklore. It's a rare blend of quiet horror, emotional gravity, where you're scared but sad because you can feel the weight of what was lost. You can understand the emotions of the the family members who lost this person through horrific ways. And you feel that and you understand it, and it's so human. And knowing this is based off of a true story, it really makes the story feel so much more real. So let's talk about what really works for me within the story. And there's a couple things that don't. First off, the atmosphere. Blake Myers nails the creepiness, the under your skin dread that doesn't rely on those cheap scares. This is the kind of book where the silence feels alive, where even turning the page feels like you might wake up a spirit. The research and realism is spot on. You can definitely tell that Blake put a lot of homework in the true story of Bella in the Wych Elm case. The historical details feels grounded. What I really did appreciate is at the very end, Blake did go through and let the readers know the facts from the fiction of what he went through and made up and what was actually real from the case. It really makes me, at least me, want to go back and reread the story, dive deeper into the historical true stories about Bella in the Wych Elm. The documentary feel of this is so well done, and Blake, you knocked it out of the park with this one. And then obviously Emma, she's one of the rare protagonists who feels genuinely fragile without feeling weak. She's not a weak character. She slowly unravels this uncomfortable and horrific case in the best way. She's smart, she's rational, she's deeply human, which makes every breakdown of her character hit harder and harder within the story. So well done. Emma is such an amazing character. Now, just like every book, there's going to be some issues, and to be honest, to me, the pacing won't be for everybody. This is a slow burn. Like, pour yourself a cup of tea, settle in for the long haul, kind of slow. If you're expecting a twisty, high octane thriller that is going to test you, that the ghost is going to be there and it's going to be so intense from the first page, this one's not it. It might test your patience, but if you are open to a slow burn where you slowly drift into the madness and then you're in there and it's terrifying and it's intense, this book is going to be for you. So well done when it comes to the pacing if you're realistic going into it. There's also a deliberate ambiguity to the ending that I feel that some people might find frustrating. You don't get that neat, closed case, here's the ribbon type of thing. There's more of a emotional aftermath. And to me, that is more realistic of the chaos that these people have to go through. And I feel like it fits the story. But I know there are some readers that want their mysteries, their supernatural epicness to be tied up a little bit cleaner without any like strings left behind, but it was done on purpose, and I think it was very well done for the story. The mood definitely carried for me. Even when it felt like it was dragging at some point, I wanted to really stay in that fog, stay in that intensity just a little longer. It was a very well done book. And so, Who Put Bella in the Witch Elm isn't trying to solve a mystery, it's trying to make you sit with one and think. That's what makes it so effective. This isn't about finding the killer or uncovering this grand conspiracy. It's about the echo that tragedy leaves behind. How something unsolved can linger for generations. It can reshape everyone who touches it. And Blake Myers does the eeriness with the real world history so well. Um, he does so much respect for the true story and the real victims, and gives it a twist that's still respectful. It it's haunting without being flashy. It has a way to feel so intense, but yet so beautiful. If you love your your horror stories that are slow, sorrowful, and stepped into real world mystery, this one deserves a spot on your shelf. It's the kind of story that doesn't leave you screaming, it leaves you uneasy. Listening for the wind to go through and whisper your name. It's so horrific. It is not a comfortable read. It's a in at night dark companion for those sleepy nights. I know for me, I stayed up super late going through and reading this book, and it was intense going through and reading this amazing companion. And I truly loved the story. It really hits hard. So if you've read Who Put Bell in the Witch Elm, I would love to hear your thoughts. Did you think Blake Myers took this legend and gave it the respect that it needed, or do you prefer your mysteries left in the dark? Drop your answers in the comments. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe. You know what to do. Till I see you in the next one. Stay overbooked.